Greetings and salutations, burritos, rancheros. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and y'all are lucky motherfuckers because you's dragging us away from. If we were monetized, that would demonetize us on YouTube or whatever because I said fuck within the first minute or so. Fuck. What are we going to do now? Anyway, you're lucky because you dragged us away from a guy from Ohio's stream on Twitch.
Yeah, he's currently streaming, and we're here recording a podcast for you because we care, listener. But also, go watch a guy from Ohio on Twitch so that he can get partnered, so that we can become Twitch streamers off his coattails, and then we all become famous.
Yeah, just like it worked out with YouTube.
Yep, pretty much.
Nah, but he's seriously very entertaining.
No.
And while we're here, thanks also to Rob, our patron on Patreon.
Yes, thank you. Rob is good.
Rob is good. And that also, if you hear howler monkey noises, that is a guy from Ohio streaming.
Genuinely a very good streamer, memes aside.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, we're here. It is time to review movies from 2018 that we watched. In our movie homework, will you explain the concept of movie homework to Ultimo Dragon?
So I have a choice here. Every podcast is someone's first, so I could, but we've done like 40 of these now. You guys should maybe get on the train. But just in case, we both have a list that we keep up every year of all the movies we watch, a quote we like from it, and a funny picture, which you guys can't see because we don't make money from this.
Hey, if you want to support us in the Patreon or go in the description and buy my books, I just released a new one in November. That would support us, and it would give me more incentive to, actually edit this thing.
Yeah, him specifically, I don't know how to video
He just shows up and says words.
Yep, and I do the easy part. But we are going through and doing quick little movie reviews / looking back ons for all of the movies on those lists. We got from 2013, 2012 for him, and then 2013 for both of us, all the way up to 2017 right now.
This is 2018, my friend.
Oh, this is 2018. Wow. Even I've lost track. So we're heading up. We're catching up. And that means there won't be too many more of these before you have to wait a whole another year for the crop to ripen.
Yeah. Also, this is about when Slim Pickens shows up. Y'all will know it before we do, but this may be a one-parter.
Yeah, it may be.
Yeah. Hey, it's how it is sometimes. Well, let's start with the perennial favorite. And let's start with you as well, my friend. Because...
Okay. So, the first movie I watched in 2018... and every year except this year, again, I apologize, is Saint Young Men. And this time I chose Happy New Year. And the picture I chose specifically was their little photo they take when it is New Year's during the movie. I chose this because I remember the beginning of 2018 feeling like the start of a very good year. And it really was.
Yeah. I believe we called it the glow up.
Yeah, 2018 glow up.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I watched the same film. The quote I chose was, "Mr. Saint, who got out of jail in 3 days." We're not going to go too deep into explanations. Guys, go back and watch the previous movie homework podcasts to get full explanations of this film. We watch it every year at New Year's.
It is almost certainly the movie I've seen most in my entire life, because I don't rewatch movies very often. At this point, the Harry Potter or Pirates series could compete due to outside factors, but voluntarily, this is the movie I have watched most.
And it's still really pleasant.
Yeah, it's just a good, comfy time.
Yeah. Who doesn't love good, comfy times? This next film is not what I would call good, comfy times.
Fuck no. So, number 2, we both watched Bright. The quote I chose was, "I happen to think it's a pretty big deal."
I don't remember the context. I picked Let Them Ask Us Questions, and I don't remember the context for that either.
This is a movie that desperately wanted to be a better movie. But having seen his work on things since, I'd like to maintain is probably being dragged down by David Ayer.
I've heard the script wasn't the best example of... Well, I'd say it's writer's work, but the film doesn't have a writer.
No,
so
clearly it has no writer on IMDb.
Wherever that script came from...
The ether.
The Ether. This I've seen better from The Ether.
I have seen a lot better from this particular Ether,
And then it was handed over to David Ayer,
who did it no fucking favors.
who is just, I'm so tired of him. I could do without him in Hollywood. I'm done. The end. I think this film, it did have a lot of charm. It had a lot of, like, imagination. And I wouldn't mind seeing more movies in this universe or like a series.
This film had a lot of... It desired... It was reaching for better world building than it had.
Yeah. And they just didn't... They did it no boon.
No. I saw a couple choices that were made specifically, I believe, out of the script. Really bothered me, but they don't bear going into. Don't watch the movie.
Yeah, it's not really worth your time. I don't believe we even did a full review on it on the channel, did we?
It wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
The third movie I watched in 2018 was a comedy special. I used to watch a lot more of these. Russell Howard, Recalibrate. There was a sign in the middle of Times Square that said, "The worst thing you can do if you smell a gas leak is nothing." And I thought, well, that's not true, is it? You could light a match.
That's a good point. I like his shirt with the gas masks on it.
Yeah.
Is that the only joke he told?
Yeah, he just came out, told that one joke, walked off stage.
He just kind of like folded
45 minutes standing ovation. He's a fine British comedian. I became familiar with him due to his work on what all British comedians seem to do for the majority of their career, panel shows.
It was just a thing I find fascinating about British culture that I do not actively engage in. I don't know if I've even mentioned this to you before because you watch panel shows regularly.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever sat down to watch an entire episode of one, but I think it's really interesting that's like...
And, like, that's not a thing in American culture.
Not really. Not since, like, the 70s, anyway.
It was a thing in the 70s, and briefly in, like, the 90s, with almost exclusively, like, celebrity episodes of regular game shows and Hollywood Squares.
And I imagine they still do stuff like that today, but, like, it seems like
I just don't see them ever. And it's not even like, oh, I don't have, cable, because I don't have cable, but... I'm aware of pop culture. Those things would become memes if they still existed, and they don't. I never see this.
Well, and we're much more focused on reality TV, I think, because we do have stuff like The Masked Singer, which is a cavalcade of celebrities, but it's not like they're
not
singing.
Sitting around doing a comedy thing.
Yeah,
it's not like the point isn't to engage in a parlor game in front of people comedically.
I think the longest lasting version of this was Whose Line?
Yeah, Whose Line? But they had, like, a regular cast, and most British panel shows do as well. They have, like, a regular rotation, or at the very least, a couple regular members and then some rotating guests, which is what Whose Line did. And Whose Line was on for a lot longer than I think it was, because sometimes I'll catch a clip from, like, way more recently than I would think.
They revived it a couple of years ago.
That would be what happened.
Mm-hmm. In February, on Valentine's Day of all things, I watched an internet documentary, which you can find on this very YouTube, called Who Is This Now? The quote I chose was, "Turn me on, dead man," which, once you understand what the movie's about, makes perfect sense. It's about the Beatles conspiracy that, all of them, basically. Somebody goes through and analyzes them. And I find this not only fascinating, because I think the world of backmasking and all that sort of thing is very interesting, and that this band was such a completely uniting pop culture figure.
Like, you have some contrarians from the age group who maintain that the Beatles are the worst music ever created, but you also have almost everyone else from that age group who loves them.
I cannot fathom in our current celebrity culture someone being this big.
Yeah, because even the uncontroversially beloved celebrities aren't this big.
No. I mean, like, numbers, they might be comparable. We're talking about, like, adjusted for inflation.
And, like, pop culture relevance. Because, like, who's as uncontroversially beloved in this day and age? I don't think there's anyone.
Yeah, I mean, not in this scale at all.
No one alive, certainly. The only, but, like, and no one near as large.
Sure. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting documentary. I would recommend going into it if you like that kind of thing. We then both watched Black Panther.
He's doing an impression of Forrest Whitaker's character, which he loves dearly and will never not do an impression
I
of.
love Forrest Whitaker because he just reached a certain age and was like, what if I did stupid voices for the rest of my career? See if anybody notices.
To be fair, Saul Guerrero was a character on the Clone Wars TV series.
Where he sounded regular.
Oh, he did?
Like, pretty normal.
Okay, well, I haven't seen him, I just knew this.
I was doing research
I
for
figured
something.
it was an impression. No, he just sounded normal, and then Whitaker decided that okay.
Like, actually, I will take you down this
All right,
this
Forrest.
rabbit hole. I was looking up how if Ithorians are able to speak without some sort of translator, because I was making a character for a Star Wars role-playing game you're running, and I was considering an Ithorian, and I saw on an episode of Rebels that there was an Ithorian who spoke without a translator, and I was like, well, is this an accent I can manage, blah, 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 so I decided to look up the episode. Also, it was Commander Shepard, so I do what she says. So I looked at the episode, and around it, I had to find the clip, there he is, sounding pretty fucking normal.
Fair enough.
It's clear he has gone off his rocker by the time the movie happens.
Which is kind of the deal
Yeah.
in that movie. But we're talking about Black Panther.
Yes.
What line did you choose?
I chose Stand Up, You Are King, or A King, excuse me.
I chose You Are a Good Man with a Good Heart. And it's hard for a good man to be a king. Which is a great line from that movie.
I haven't watched Black Panther in a long time. Looking forward to watching it soon in our Marvel rewatch.
Yeah, we're coming up on it.
Yeah, we are.
It's a really good fucking movie. It's not the best Marvel movie. But it's far from the worst. And even the worst Marvel movie's good. So
Your mileage may vary. But, yeah, I don't remember if we did a podcast on this one either. I think we did.
We most certainly had to have, because it's good enough and we had enough opinions about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I honestly don't remember.
No, I don't either. We just try to, as we've said before, stay away from line-orama retellings of the movie.
Yeah, if we like a movie enough and we don't have enough actual thoughts about it, that it would just be us quoting the movie, we typically don't do a podcast on it.
All right. We then both watched Battle Royale as part of the
Netflix roulette.
Yeah, Netflix roulette. Thank you. My brain is kind of right now.
Is this a you round or a me round?
This is... I don't remember. It might have...
I think this might be the only round I won. This might be the only time that it was me and we liked it.
Yeah, because I think this was on both of our lists. So I don't remember whose it was specifically.
I know it was on both of our lists because this is one of those movies we had both been meaning to watch for like fucking 8 years.
It had been since high school for me.
Yeah.
Your quote?
Damn good cookies.
And I chose, Ai, konnichiwa.
This is a great movie. Look, as much as the joke is funny, I don't think The Hunger Games directly was trying to steal from Battle Royale. It's just that it's a concept that's fairly easy to stumble upon coincidentally. That being said, this is a much better version of that concept.
I liked... The suspense felt suspensier.
The movie is just way more genuine.
Yeah.
And it feels way more, like, real. Partially because it's way more grounded.
Yeah.
For all that it's clearly based in, like, some sort of weird post-apocalyptic Japan where, they have children fight to the death. It feels way more grounded because it's just acted in a way more grounded fashion. Only one of the kids gets a gun, and the rest of them are trying to, like... There's a lot more, like, factions being made, and the kid who is just just killing people randomly is portrayed as much more of a psychopath.
Another thing I liked, and we did do a full review of this, so, we won't linger too long, but another thing I liked is that it didn't feel like an adventure story, so I wasn't confident that the main character was going to live.
Yeah, it definitely felt a lot more like a horror movie.
Yeah, horror, suspense, and just the way it was filmed and everything. I really appreciated it. I recommend you check that one out if you don't have a problem with, kind of scary, intense stuff.
Or movies about high schoolers being murdered.
Movies with subtitles. Oh yeah, that might also upset some people.
I'm sure there's a dub if you're a Philistine.
All right, let's see. You're on March 19th. Oh, we got some shit to get through. I watched The Monkey King, Havoc in Heaven's Palace. It's cold in the sky. Remember to stay warm.
Yes, your Sun Wukong face.
The March of the Monkey King.
Yeah. You guys will know what that means here in a couple minutes.
I liked this movie okay. I kind of got tired of Wukong in it because he's a little bit more on the silly side. And I am very particular about how I ingest silly.
And that's hard to, it's a risky run with these sorts of things because in the source material, Monkey is not exactly a super serious character.
No, and that's fine. And so let's move on to The Monkey King 2.
Which you watched the same day.
Yeah, you and I are really alike. We only believe what we can see with our own eyes.
That feels like a line that's intended as a compliment and in context is a real burn.
It's pretty good, yeah. I liked this movie a lot better. First of all, unless I am completely mistaken, they changed the actor. I believe in the first movie it was Donnie Yen, and I love Donnie Yen, don't get me wrong, but the guy they replaced him with here was just a more solid performance. He toned it down, which this is also an older Wukong.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, but this is the story. This is the one where he gets the gang together and they all, go off.
Yeah, this is Journey to the West.
Yeah, well, the first part of it anyway. Yeah. The whole thing lasts a long time. But this is the one most people are familiar with. And they did it really well. It's really got some really cool set pieces, some cool fights, really good CGI, and really good characterization. I had a good time with this. It felt like watching a long-ass episode of Hercules with a ridiculous budget.
Which is, how could you ask for more?
I don't know how you could ask for more.
And then you catch up to me.
Yes.
On March 19th, the sixth movie I watched was the live-action Full Metal Alchemist. I chose... Don't break it again. It makes my work look shoddy. Stop complaining, will you? Don't talk back. I wasn't a humongous fan of this. You can actually sort of tell because this is one of the few times the picture I chose and the quote I chose are literally the same scene because it was like the only scene in the movie I really liked.
I felt like this did a pretty decent job starting up, but then once like the last half of the movie was just clumsy and annoying and unnecessary.
I blocked most of this out because I just did not have a good time watching it.
I'm almost positive we did a podcast on this one. The quote I chose is, "A friend's friend is a friend."
And you picked the same picture, but a cropped image.
It is slightly earlier or later in the scene, thank you.
He's so happy.
This
and
is
alive.
This is not a knock on any of the actors. I think they did a good job.
Oh, yeah, well, live-action adaptations of anime are always going to be hard.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's not really anybody's fault. Some shit just responds better to adaptation. Yeah. Honestly, I think this is one of those times where, like, a Netflix Death Note-style adaptation might have been better. If you were willing to separate from the source material, you might have gotten a better result, because you're just... If you stick too closely to beloved source material like this, you're probably not going to do it as well.
Well, and another part of the problem is it should have been longer. One of the things about Full Metal Alchemist, no matter which one you're watching... Yeah, you
tried to stuff way too much Full Metal Alchemist into this movie.
Yeah, and
but
you
doing,
just can't.
Like, 3 episodes of the anime obviously wouldn't work as a movie either. So
sure, yeah.
There's a balance to be struck, and they didn't.
I would have said, don't do this.
Honestly, me too. If you're going to do it, do something a little bit more... Give yourself a little more room to breathe.
Well, next I watched A Wrinkle in Time. You're going to be tested every step of the way. Have faith in who you are. A Wrinkle in Time was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. Elementary school ages.
I've never read it. Never watched this.
I recommend it. It's really simple, but it's because it's intended for children. But it's got a lot of really neat philosophy stuff, and I don't know, it's a fun adventure story.
No, it's widely regarded as being good. It just literally happens to be something that wasn't didn't come up during my childhood. I almost never heard about it until I was already a grown up. And I the shit I was doing.
Sure. I would say either reading the book or watching the movie is a great thing. I feel like some stuff they changed toward the end of the film, I would have rather seen it be a little more loyal to the book. But there's changes they make in the beginning of the film that I think are better. So overall, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. At the very least, Power Oprah looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah, very, very good. We have caught up. Look at Tony Stark's fucking
that is the
face
reason
there.
I chose that.
Jesus, that might have to be the thumbnail.
He's just so tired. This is Avengers Infinity War. I'm Peter, by the way. Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made-up names. Then I'm Spider-Man.
My choice was... bold. Did you do it? Yes. What did it cost? Everything.
This is a really good fucking movie. The only reason we wouldn't have done a podcast on this is if it was going to be a Line-O-Rama sort of Guardians of the Galaxy podcast.
Here's the beauty. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
We hated this movie.
Yeah, this is the movie we talked ourselves into liking on the way home.
We did.
And so we did a podcast about talking ourselves into liking this movie.
I think we were even kind of talking ourselves into liking the movie through the podcast.
Because it's a really good movie, but it takes a minute to settle with you.
And basically, just some of the choices made didn't feel good for me as a viewer. Like, it felt predictable and unnecessarily, like, pulling at viewer emotions.
But with some time to think about it, it's predictable for us because we're familiar with the source material and because we're savvy viewers.
Sure.
For your average audience, the end of this movie is not the ending they expected.
No, that's
This
true.
came as a humongous shock to most of the people who watched it. Of course, not us, because it took them this long to get to the first panel of the Infinity War comics.
Yeah.
But it's...
I'm excited to watch this again.
Yeah, same. When we get to this, I'm going to be hype.
Mm-hmm. Fresh eyes.
But I like, with time, this movie does a lot of really important work to set up the next movie, which I fucking adore. So,
Yeah. Let's see.
not the literal next movie on this list.
I watched American Satan, which was a decent Faust rock and roll movie that had...
Is there a Crossroads Devil?
No, it's not a Crossroads Devil. It's Faust. Satan comes to him.
Okay, all right. Hey, man, sometimes you meet Satan on the road. Sometimes Satan comes to you.
Sure.
Loses points for not being a Crossroads Devil, I'm going to be honest.
That's fair. That's a fair opinion. I enjoyed it. There were some parts that were a little hammy and a little hacky, but...
I mean, Goldberg is in this movie.
Sure, it wasn't him. He was just playing a bodyguard, so, he just beat Goldberg and it was fine.
Also the guy who played Samwell on Game of Thrones.
He was really good. He's
a really fucking
fun.
good actor.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen him
He's
in
playing
much.
Earl Sleaze Bagano in this, so...
Oh, boy.
The quote was, "A puppet is free as long as it loves its strings," which is a play on the original quote, which I think is interesting. And very interesting in the context of the film. And then we both watched a movie together like friends.
Yep. This was Deadpool 2. Probably a guy who can't draw feet, which was, like, that was a separator line in the theater. I mentioned this during our podcast also. I'm almost certain, and if I didn't, I did you a disservice, listener. Because there are two camps of people watching the Deadpool 2 movie. The people who laughed at this fucking joke like it was the funniest thing they've ever heard. And then people who are not familiar with the comic books.
The line I chose was, "Well, that's just lazy writing." I don't think we've seen this one again since.
No, we haven't. I've seen clips of it because YouTube recommends me clips of it, and I go, yeah, sure, I'll enjoy 2 minutes of Deadpool 2. That's fun. Yeah. But
it was a good film.
It's a good film. Yeah. I'll probably watch it again at some point.
Sure,
but,
why not?
I don't know when.
So we watched these at slightly different times, but let's go ahead and both cover them right now.
Okay, all right.
the movie we are speaking of, and we'll talk in brief because we're going to do a Star Wars retrospective.
When we get to the fact that we
them.
literally watched all of them right in a row.
Yeah. Which is, that'll be the 29th, that'll be the next one. Oh my God.
That'll be the next one, except for this movie, which we actually watched in the beginning of 2020.
We'll probably tag the two that we didn't watch on the end of that.
We watched.
Make them wait.
No, we've watched so few movies in 2020. Don't take movies out of the 2020 list.
That's fine. The movie is Solo, a Star Wars story. I hate you. I know.
Good. My quote for Solo, a Star Wars story, Stain. That is hard to say, kind of. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I accept it. I think we can both agree that this movie gets a lot of shit it doesn't deserve.
I did a One Nerd podcast on this one. Don't listen to it. It's awkward and bad. This might be my favorite Star Wars movie.
It is the closest in tone and execution to The Mandalorian, the best Star Wars movie.
And it's fun. It's a movie. What did I say a little bit ago about the Hunger Games? It was compared to Battle Royale. You go into the Hunger Games, you know the main character is going to make it out okay. I went into this movie, and obviously I know the main character is going to make it out okay, but I still gave a shit.
Yeah, it earned your buy-in.
Yeah.
And if you're not someone who pointlessly hates on whatever his name is, I genuinely don't know, for not being old ass Harrison Ford in the Han Solo origin story, which would be terrible fucking casting. Why do you people still want that? Then he did a great job. He was doing a good job as Han Solo. He was basically doing a Harrison Ford impression. What more do you people want?
Yeah. Let's see if I watched a movie between you watching that. I did not.
Nope.
No, we're caught up again.
Nice. The next movie we both watched, I believe we watched this together in the theater.
We did.
Was Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. We are not compatible.
I chose Get on the Boat. Go get on the boat. And I think we did a podcast. I know we did a podcast on this one because I remember the thumbnail.
It was a fun movie.
The guy who said that line, he gave his best, and I'm proud of him.
Why was half of it a horror movie?
Whatever. Who gives a fuck? This was a lot of fun.
It was a fun movie. I don't hate this movie at all. I love this movie.
I got to troll my mom. Can I tell that story real quick?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, sir. We need time. Fill this time.
I might have said it on the original podcast, but
Who cares?
You're not going to go watch it. Prove me wrong and let me know in the comments. I didn't like the first Jurassic World movie. I thought the characters were annoying and mean and unrelatable. I thought everything was kind of predictable. I just was kind of bored by it.
You also didn't like the Indominus Rex powered by Samsung? As a creature?
No, I mean, I like the concept, haha, iRex, like an iPhone, technology destroys
He holds
everything
nothing to the Indoraptor. The Indoraptor is a fucking amazing horror movie slasher villain. Sometimes he lets things get away because it's for the aesthetic. I fucking love this devil creature.
So my mom's really disappointed. She loves the Jurassic Park franchise, and she was sad that, I didn't love the new movie as much as she did. She, in fact, had me watch it twice.
Just to be sure.
Because, maybe the first time, I don't know, I wasn't looking. Anyway, I got done with this movie, and I managed, after the delight that is that whole ending and the wonder and all that, I managed to go, I can't believe they did it again. And just, had this, upset look on my face, and I watched her get devastated for half a second. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. I loved it. That was great. I felt like such the Joey.
Oh.
Man, we're trucking right along together here.
Yep. Then we watched Ant-Man and the Wasp. It is truth serum, which is the best brick joke in a long while.
We both used that quote, actually. I liked this one, even though...
This is an Ant-Man movie. Thus, it is, predictably, smaller stakes. Oh, I'm not laughing at my joke. I'm laughing at his reaction, just so we're clear. But no, they tell more fun, rompy stories.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, part of this movie is very emotionally heavy.
Yeah.
The stuff around Ghost they don't fuck around.
No.
But it is not Infinity War, which is what preceded it in this saga. Which it was a good break.
Yeah, nice breather. Let's see here. This is when you had to watch the Lego Batman movie.
Yes, I was made to watch this movie.
No. We're wrong. You decided you had to.
Yes.
And I told you, you are not going to like this movie.
I know.
I would recommend you do not watch this movie.
You did say that. You said that with words, but you're not the one who made me. A friend of mine whose opinion I do actually rate fairly highly really fucking loves this Batman movie, so I wanted to give it a shot. It is not for me.
No.
There are jokes in this movie that are very funny if you are not someone who has been, to use the parlance, in the fandom for as long as I have. Because half the jokes in this movie are jokes that I got tired of by the time I was 16 years old. And they haven't stopped since then. So now they make me want to gouge my fucking eyes out.
I think we covered this movie when I watched it the first time. The quote I checked was, last I checked I only had... Quote I chose. Last I checked I only had one butt.
The quote I chose was my favorite line in the movie, which was at the very beginning, after a thing that was very original and made me laugh very, very, very much. Okay, are you making some of those up? Nope, they're all real. Probably worth a Google. Just, good. It's an amazing little sequence where Zach Galifianakis' Joker lists so many completely unknown, outside of unbelievable turbo nerds like me, Batman villains that nobody fucking uses in any adaptation. Like White Rabbit. I would lay fair odds that if there are, if what proportion of the listeners come to this particular podcast, none of you know who that is before Googling.
Depends if they watch Linkara. He's covered some issues with her in it.
That's true. So. If so, props. Or if you've read the comics, double props.
Yeah, shit.
But it just kept fucking going, and
It's good. It's good for a laugh. Like they spin you up really well on that.
And it really, honestly, probably was the smartest thing this movie did, because it absolutely won my buy-in in that moment. So they got away without me turning the movie off through a lot of shit that is way more grating to me.
That aside, the graphics are incredible.
Oh, it's incredibly well made. It's well acted.
The message is good.
The message is good. Will Arnett's Batman is very funny, like in terms of, punchline delivery. All of the stuff is very, the jokes are well written. They're well-written versions of those jokes. I've just heard them 40 bajillion fucking times, and I'm very tired of them.
Yeah. Man, it must have been an easy movie to write, come to think of it. I watched a documentary on the making of the video game Dream Daddy called How Game Grumps Created Dream Daddy. The quote I chose was, "Being sincere is okay."
That's a good message.
Yeah. This game was really good. It came to me at a point in my life where I really needed it. And it taught me a lot about myself, and it was fun and funny and cute.
I'm glad for you, Owen.
Thank you. Then we watched Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
What was your quote, pal?
I decide what I'm going to be.
It's good shit. Yeah, try not to get choked up. Here we go. Tell you what it is, Mr. Reed. Now, we're four misfits who don't belong together. We're playing for the other misfits. They're the outcasts right at the back of the room. We're pretty sure they don't belong either. We belong to them.
This is two things simultaneously, because stuff can be multiple things. This is an excellent movie and a fairly bad biopic.
It is factually incorrect in many ways.
And if that's what you're looking for in a biopic, or biopic if you're a psycho, then don't go here. Because that's not what they're looking to tell an overall emotional narrative about a person, rather than get every factual detail of their life correct. I'm not saying either way is right or wrong. That is clearly what they were going for, and if you're not into that, that's perfectly okay.
I'd say there's an alternative in the old A&E style biographies.
Yeah, those are much more factually accurate, and the emotion isn't nearly as much there.
Right.
As a movie, this is fucking excellent.
Yeah, fantastic. Which we don't need to tell you that it won a bunch of awards. So
Yeah.
I think, did we do a podcast on it? I think we did a podcast with it and something else. Or
Yeah,
something like that.
like a twofer.
Same scene again.
It's best scene in the movie.
What did we watch, my friend?
The Emperor's New Groove, all the way back from fucking 2000, and a movie that can vote by the time we watched it.
I think you made that joke at the time.
I believe I did, because I only have so many jokes. I am a boomer. Uh-oh. Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall. Yep. Sharp rocks at the bottom? Most likely. Bring it on.
I chose Beware the Groove. Hey, are you going to be all right? Groove.
This is a movie I had seen GIFs of and clips from basically since memes became a thing, but it is in the Disney canon, one of those movies I just missed and never felt the need to watch. And that was a fucking mistake. This movie's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, my friends all talked about it, and not in that way that made me go, I don't want to watch it, because, you know, I have that problem that I'm trying to get over. But, no, they talked about it like it was really fun, and I just never got around to it. And then we got around to it, and, hey, it was really fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie.
Huge departure from the typical Disney formula. Felt very Tex Avery. Old school animation. Lots of jokes. Lots of sight gags.
Lots of very cartoon jokes, which was nice to see.
Yeah, it felt like a long episode of a series.
Yeah.
Or like a Disney series.
Like, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, howdy.
We're already in December, kids. Like, hold on.
Yeah, okay. No, this is one part.
This episode's gone a little long than, you know, we typically do, but
there's not two podcasts worth of material
Jesus.
here.
Like, we need to watch more movies, man.
It's been a rough couple of years. And we were busy having the glow up in 2018. So, December 25th, on Christmas, we watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Let's do this one last time.
I chose With Great Ability Comes Great Accountability.
Good. This is fucking so good. We did a podcast on it where I just vented about how amazing this movie is. Mm-hmm. Watch that.
Yeah, this is a good film. I don't need to go any deeper. It's good. Like, you don't need me to tell you that.
If you do, let me tell you that it's really good. Please watch it.
Later in the year, I was around A Christmas Story again, enough to add it to my list. Quote I chose was, "What brought you to this lowly state?" And this is a classic. If you haven't seen it,
How?
Yeah.
How have you not? Are you from a different country?
Yeah.
Do we have international listeners?
Hey, comment if you are.
You know what? Ultimo Dragon is Japanese.
That's true.
So maybe he hasn't.
Maybe he's not.
This movie was omnipresent in my childhood.
I don't know that I can recommend this film. It is. If you wish to witness it,
that is acceptable.
Like looking at the Grand Canyon. I couldn't tell somebody to go look at that big hole.
It's a big hole.
But if like you're into big holes, you know to go look at it. Speaking of big holes.
We talking about Amber Heard or?
Damn, that's too good. I'm not gonna touch that one.
We watched Aquaman. It's true. He wields the sea was the quote I chose because it's fucking amazing.
I picked I Am Thomas, Keeper of Lighthouse, because I really like that character.
Oh, he's a really good character.
Yeah.
This movie's fun as shit, but not very good.
This movie is fun as shit. It's dumb as shit. And it's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
This movie's it is also Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like it's the same movie. It's so weird. It's so weird how the same movie it is, despite not being at all the same movie. This movie's a himbo.
Yeah, there's the big hole between the ears.
Yeah, it's dumb, it's fun, a lot of muscles, and it's drinking its respect women juice, and that's good. That's a good thing for a movie to be.
We did a podcast on it if you care. Man, we got lazy at the end of the year with the pictures. And then we watched Venom. The quote I chose was, "I'm so sorry about your friends."
The quote I chose was, "Sounds in the 4,000 to 6,000 hertz range are very harmful to it." Then don't make those sounds.
We didn't get lazy. We did the stealth pick.
Yeah, we typically don't show it. We typically try to pick our images without looking at the other person's, because usually we end up picking something different, and that's fun. But for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Venom, we picked the literal exact same image because they're just very striking images that sum up the movie.
Yeah, well, and Google only has so much.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about Disney Plus. Is I can take these little I can take bespoke screenshots of points of the movie I really wanted a picture of. I'm going to do hunting. I can just do it, you open Paint, crop it down, and post it. And it's so much simpler for me.
Pretty sure we did a podcast on this one, too. It was a hell of a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
But that doesn't mean it was great.
No, it was pretty good. I mean, it's as good as it was going to be when you make a Venom film that doesn't say Spider-Man.
Yeah, with the restrictions it had in place, with the weights it was wearing around its arms and legs like fucking Rock Lee from Naruto, or better anime, but I don't know why that one always pops up to me. I've never seen Naruto. With the weights it was working under, yeah, it was probably the best Venom movie you were going to get.
Yeah. I hope they still do Carnage. I'm curious to see what take they would have on it. I would eventually like to see it go back to Marvel, but, you know.
Fucking Woody Harrelson Carnage would be... That's an interesting enough concept that I'm
basically
I'm bought in.
Pretty much. I was like, okay, I'm listening.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's see what you do.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's not on your... Oh, there we go.
Lord.
He
finally gets it.
Yeah, I finally get it. We watched Mandy.
Motherfucker. So we mentioned a guy from Ohio earlier. We watched this movie with him. And he's always wanted us to do a podcast about this movie. And we have, up to this point, adamantly refused. He's finally getting what he wants.
Oh, he gets it now. I also get it now.
But that doesn't need to get mentioned.
That doesn't need to get talked about.
But this movie's bad. I need to get that right out front. Because we've never done a podcast on this movie. Because we don't want to happen to you, listener, what happened to us. Because we're about to say some shit that makes it sound like this movie is good.
Well, that's what happened to us. Exactly. Yeah, we had another friend who told us about this bad movie and described it. And we went, that sounds like a good movie, and you're just probably wrong. And
he went, no, I'm not wrong. I know it sounds like I'm describing a good movie. Listen to me. I'm trying to warn you. I am the Flash. Come back through a time portal. Please don't. And then we did, and we weren't going to forward the ring tape to all of you, so we haven't done a podcast on it. Now let's do a podcast about Mandy. Because... we're gonna say some shit that makes this movie sound good. Please believe me, it's not. Everything we say is somehow still unbelievably fucking boring.
Okay. I think I can do this.
Go for it.
All right. Y'all know how 70s rape revenge movies, like the first hour, nothing happens. And then there's the rape. And then there's the revenge. And neither of them, I mean, for obvious reasons on one, are quite as satisfying or entertaining enough to justify the hour you spent listening to people have banal conversations about shit you could never care about.
That, but then imagine if, like, the revenge, the really satisfying part of those movies, had a bunch of wacky shit happen in it that somehow is still boring as fuck.
Now, I have it on good authority that if you live in certain states,
you will like Mandy more.
you can achieve certain states and watch Mandy, and you will unlock a secret good movie inside the bad movie.
I can't speak from that perspective. This movie's bad.
If you can solve that riddle that I just put in front of you,
kudos, enjoy it. I think we should move on.
let's move swiftly along. I think this is the last thing. Yeah, this is the last thing we saw.
But no, I meant like in this movie there is a scene where a tiger shows up and then walks out from its cage, attacks no one, looks out at 3 Tiger Moon, and then the scene ends. There is a chainsaw fight where Nicolas Cage's character beats a man with a chainsaw by pulling out another different, bigger chainsaw. There is a fight where he fights a dude with a sword for a dick, and he wins by the dick sword man getting his dick sword stuck in the floor. All of that, very boring film.
What was the quote you chose, brother?
I changed my mind. I like Galactus. Galactus isn't a planet. Yeah, but he eats planets.
The quote I chose was Eric Estrada.
This is, the bastard finally gets what he wants. He finally gets a Mandy podcast.
I'm going to reiterate something I said in the comments of my own Facebook post. Just Google Cheddar Goblin if you are not in one of those states on one of those states, and then you will see the best part of the movie.
Yeah, Cheddar Goblin's fucking gold.
Cheddar Goblin's gold.
Aces,
Perfect.
gold tier, perfect, unbelievable.
You can buy Cheddar Goblin.
Masterwork.
We're not sponsored, but if Cheddar Goblin wanted to sponsor us, I would take that.
I mean, I just shit-talked their movie a whole bunch. I highly doubt it.
That doesn't stop people anymore.
That's true. That's true. Cheddar Goblin is A+, double extra, fucking double rainbow tier good memes.
Yeah.
I'm so upset.
We did this to ourselves.
We did it. I never thought about it until now. All right. I think that wraps us up, yes?
That does wrap us up.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.